Welcome to F4S digital events, where we invite successful and inspiring speakers from the business world to tell their career story. This is a Maths4Girls event, and by running these, our aim is that it will lead more young girls into maths-oriented sectors such as finance, investment and STEM. My name is Kath, and I work to connect teachers and their students with inspirational people from the world of work, so that young people can get a better idea of what careers might suit them. I will be hosting today's session. Audience, your audio, video and chat function has been disabled for safeguarding purposes. If you are submitting questions, can you click the anonymous button? And if we are unable to answer your question today, I apologise in advance. We are recording the session and you will be able to watch it again on YouTube and share it with friends. So for just now, sit back and enjoy the webinar, take some notes and get ready to ask some questions. I am delighted to welcome today's inspirational speaker, Appy. She will talk today about her career journey and about the types of jobs available within her sector. So Appy, thank you for giving up your time today and for agreeing to share your story. So my first question for you is, can you start by telling us about your career journey, what you did at school and how you've ended up to where you are today?
Sure, happy to. Thank you, Kath. So where did I start off in school? So if I start back to GCSEs, I did 10 GCSEs. Double maths, actually, unusually. I did maths and statistics and double sciences. I went on to A-levels to do double maths, physics and economics, and went to university. I went to UCL doing economics and statistics. So very maths heavy right the way throughout. So I can't say I really knew what I wanted to do. What I'm doing now is very different to the beginning of my career, but maths really did help me forge my path within finance. So within finance, I quite liked the shiny buildings in the city, and I thought that was a very exciting career path to be taking. I went on an initial grad program in America. So I went to Philadelphia, worked in an organization called SEI, which was focused around wealth management. So it's managing the money for high wealth individuals, and then moved back to London. And, you know, in your career journey, there can be successes and failures, and actually you learn a lot from your failures. Originally, I was trying to get into banking. And so I tried that again when I came back to London, and went through a traditional graduate program and joined ABN AMRO. And within that, I did a number of roles. One was very technical and doing a lot of number crunching. But that's very different to the role I do now with Aviva Investors, where I am running a sales team. But what maths has really helped me with is learning the logic. When you do maths at school, you're learning a logic, a way of thinking. And I use that every day today. Do I develop and crunch numbers all the time? No, I've got other experts in the room that do that for me. But I do use the thought process, and I do check numbers with my team. And that has really helped me form the success of my career to date.
Okay, so you said you did double maths at schools. Was
Yes.
there a teacher that inspired you, or did you just have a natural ability?
I was actually pretty good at it, but I was also good at a lot of other subjects. But I would actually say it was the teachers. I was really encouraged to leverage on sciences, and that really helped, because I had a teacher that was great at explaining things very logically and making it fun and interesting. So I sort of gravitated in that process very naturally. And problem solving is a skill set that I really enjoyed within maths, particularly in statistics, which is one element of mathematics. You're always trying to figure out a problem. And that's something that I really liked, which problem solving is actually, I do a lot of interviews for new graduates and interns into work. That's one of the core skills that we interview for, which is how do you think through a problem? And that's a really strong skill set to have.
Yeah, and I think that is one of the soft skills that teachers do try to promote, is problem solving skills. And you're right, logic in maths is a great way to bring that to the fore of your skill set. So we've already got people asking all sorts of questions, so I might take some of them. So one of them, I'll just answer just now. Has being a woman in your industry been an advantage or a disadvantage?
It's quite a tough question. I don't think when I joined the industry I thought it was any different. I think the perception I have is it's a meritocratic environment, and it still is. Has being a female advantaged me in any way? I don't think so. I think what has advantaged me is the skills I've learned and what value add I can bring to a firm. So that's been very positive. However, now, I mean, there's a lot of us in the industry who want to help get more women into the industry. So you get to hear stories from us. And I think that's the positive that's happened more recently. We're sharing our stories like we are today to show that there are opportunities out there. And we're willing to take you on. We just need more people to come into this space so that we can increase the pool of talent.
Okay, well that leads me to the next audience question. They're coming in thick and fast. So this one is, why do you think there is a gender gap in maths at A level?
I think that's a tough question. I think it is a legacy thing. I think it hasn't been encouraged enough in schools. I think the big thing is that anything is possible in this world that we're in today. And I think when the move from GCSEs to A level, it gets narrowed because there are perceptions of certain things girls can do and can't do. And that can go all the way for what you believe or grown up with when you're a child. So I'm going to say something very, you could class as appropriate or inappropriate. But when a child is small and it's a girl, do you say, oh wow, you look beautiful today, I love the dress? And then you say to a boy, oh, you're very smart. So these sorts of things influence children throughout their childhood. And do you try differently? I was very fortunate. My parents really pushed me to do sciences. And so then it was a norm for me. And I can't say everyone's circumstances can be different, but there are so many opportunities out there. And actually looking at the world of work, we need more people, and we need people that have from different backgrounds and different thought processes to create diversity within our industry, because that's how ultimately all industries want to make money. And the more diverse the group of people are, the more beneficial it is to us.
Yep, quite right. But here's another question. What careers could I get into with maths? So you've worked in quite a few different places, you've worked abroad. What are the opportunities for girls who take maths?
Okay. Across the board. So I would say if you do maths, you could do artificial intelligence. You can work in finance and crunch numbers. So I work for a larger insurance company. They have insurance policies. You've got to, for you to get money out if you have an accident, there's numbers that need to be modeled on the back of that. You're in an environment right now where it's a really unusual time with COVID-19. You could even go into sciences and help crunch numbers around science experiments. It's across the board. I mean, I now run a sales team. So you can go from doing maths as your day-to-day job, or leverage the skill sets you learn in maths to work in a completely different area. So the options are vast. I would say you can do a lot of service roles right the way throughout, whether that is and what I'd encourage everybody to be really thinking about is not just what you learn as maths, it's the journey that you go through. So what we spoke about, problem solving, decision making, working as part of a group to do a project together. These are all the softer skill sets that we're looking at. If you're part of a maths club and you end up going into competition with other people, you know, these are other skill sets as well. Like you can learn a lot from maths that you can that are different and complementary to what you might be doing in arts or any other career. So there are so many options, and that's the thing. It's that, you know, the options are super vast, but it opens up additional doors to do some sciences along with some of the art subjects that you are doing.
Okay, and I have another question just on sciences, because I have had somebody ask, can sciences take you into law? If you take sciences at school, can that mean that you can proceed with a law degree?
Yes, you can. So, I mean, when you do law degrees, generally they, and I don't know how the rules have changed with UCAS systems and things, but you don't generally need to have done law A-levels to apply for law at university. But by doing sciences, what you're learning, and I'm going to go back to what I remember from science experiments. What do? You do a hypothesis, you test, you do the experiment, you say the results of that experiment, and then you do a conclusion. So there's a sequence there that you can apply to law.
It's a logic again.
Exactly, and it's also being able to put a statement together. So if it didn't work, it's okay, but how did you put that story together to then come to a conclusion? And the thing with university is it's not just about the subjects that you do, it's all the additional extracurricular activities. So the person that's looking to do law, go for it. You know, do debate club as well, and other things that you can just provide as a very rounded individual to go up against the other candidates that are applying to do law in your university of choice.
I mean, something you said there just reminded me of something my daughter always says her teachers say, and I'm trying to think back to school, mine probably did as well, but even if you get an answer wrong in maths, if you show your workings, you might well pick up some points along the way. So it's all about the process, really, rather than just the end result as well. It's about the steps you take to solve the problem. So
absolutely.
We have a question here about apprenticeships. Obviously, we've got a lot of students on today, and they're asking, can you get an apprenticeship in a sector that maths can provide a job for them? So does maths help you get an apprenticeship, is basically what they're asking.
So there are a lot of programs out there. So one that comes to mind is an organization called Investment 2020, and that takes people straight out of school, and they end up doing a placement with a number of organizations. So Aviva investors are signed up to the Investment 2020 program. An individual on my team is off that program and is a permanent hire within the team. So that's a great one to look at if you're trying to get into finance. There are multiple other programs out there, and some of the names escape me right now, but I will share that with you later, Kath, if that's all right, and then you can share that with a larger group. But there are definitely programs. Just, I would encourage everyone to Google, because, you know, my organization, previous organizations also have programs for school leavers. So if you look up school leavers in finance, there'll be lots of internships and opportunities available there as well.
Okay. We have another question here. Do you have to be good at maths to enjoy it?
I would say there's a lot of things that you do that you don't necessarily enjoy, but you can be good and not enjoy parts of it. I mean, when I did double maths, I can say that certain elements I did not enjoy. I quite like trigonometry and a few other things, but you have to do certain things that you don't enjoy to get to where you need to get to as well. And you've got to see the learning in it, is what I would say. I mean, you can focus on areas you enjoy, but there's certain things that you will need to do to fulfill a criteria, and I'd still encourage you to still give it a go anyway.
Yeah, and this one is, did you ever doubt your maths ability? I mean, you've talked about you were encouraged from your parents, you've talked about doing double maths, you've said some of it you maybe had to work harder than other bits. So did you ever doubt it, or did you always know that you were just good at it?
Well, I'll tell you that the school doubted it. So I went to a state school for primary and secondary. I applied for a selective school for A-levels, and the school didn't think I was good enough to do double maths, so they offered single. So to say that I did double, I got, what did I get? 2 A's and 2 B's. So I got an A in maths and a B in further maths. So even with an A and a B, they didn't think I was good. So, you know, they were eating their words at the end of 2 years, that I was able to do it. So I would say that with anything, if you apply yourself, you can make a success of it, and you can get the support and the help to do so. At A-levels, I had a fantastic pure maths teacher. I don't know if the modules are called the same these days, who really helped me along that journey to you know, help me with the gaps in my knowledge, because there is a different level of learning from when I was in a state school to this elective school, and I had a lot of gaps that I needed to fill. But hard work got me there. So that's why I really encourage.
Okay, I think you did talk earlier about learning from different experiences, and how if you failed at something, you learned more from that. And someone's asking, what did you learn? Did you fail at something, and what did you learn? If you can think of a specific experience. Oh,
you know, I've got to say, there's a lot of things that you fail at in your career, and also in adult life as well. So I mean, loads of examples, but I would go back to the example of when I applied to be a graduate on the graduate schemes to join banking. I didn't make it through the first time round. You know, there's a lot of online questionnaires that you have to do. You've got to do critical thinking exams. But what you do from that is that you have an opportunity to reflect, to see what you did well and did not do well, get feedback from people around you. You know, did you answer those questions around team-based work correctly? And that's where my biggest learning, your biggest learnings come from your failures. And actually it's okay to fail. You just have to learn fast and try again. And as a result of that, I mean, I worked in banking for a very long time, and had a very good career at ABN AMRO and RBS as well. So I would give you that example. You know, I tried again a couple of years later and succeeded.
Yeah, and again, you know, one of the things that some people are asking is, and you've touched on this, that there are lots of different areas of maths. So there's trigonometry, there's just plain arithmetic. So they're asking, what types of maths do you need in the person that's asking wants to be an accountant. So what type of math do you need an accountant? Do they just need to be good at arithmetic to be a good accountant, or are there other things they should focus on?
I wouldn't think about trying to narrow your skill sets at such an early age. So once to become an accountant, you actually end up doing professional exams as well, and the professional exams will tell you exactly what you need, you know, what skill sets you need to have to get to the next level. You can be a bit more focused and do accountancy at A level, I believe now. But actually at this process and at this stage in your career, well, in your education, it's really around getting the foundations, because once you have the foundations, you can specialize. I think you know, I can say personally, when I went through being a student, you feel that you have to make a decision on your career, and that's what you're going to end up being once you graduate, whether you leave at A levels at 18 or at 21. But you have so many options to then learn again. By being a student, what you are learning is the ability to learn and adapt and use your knowledge in a different way. And actually that's what's been the most powerful ability for myself. So every role you take a step up, and the only consistent thing in my entire career is my ability to learn, which is something that I established from primary school all the way through to university. So I'd encourage you to think about it from a learning experience and developing the skill sets than it is from focusing on trig or pure or statistics. There are only very specific roles that require you to have done elements of one thing. So if you did machine learning, which is a massive thing right now with AI and things that you might see on TV, there you would need to be very highly mathematical to be able to program and code. But you can do that. You can start doing computing at A levels, but you can start pinpointing that at university. But any firm will help you on the education to get you up the skill sets for any specific program that you might need to do. So I'd encourage you to think about the bigger picture at this stage.
Okay, so we've got now a couple of questions about your job. So the first one is, what inspired you to work where you are?
Well, actually, I'd say it's one of them is my manager. I think he was we had very similar views on how we do things. Aviva investors are really trying to make a difference in the way we engage. So this is very specific, but as a sales team, what do? We engage with clients or other people, and it's about the way we engage with them that's going to resonate. Now, Aviva is really making big changes within the finance industry in this space. And so that's what really drew me to that. So what's interesting about when you pick roles is part of it ends up being your education, but actually it's around the people around you. Are you going to be in a good working environment that you are going to enjoy? Are you in a working environment that you're going to be able to develop? Even at my point in my career, I'm also interested in constantly learning and developing. And Aviva Investors was providing and is providing that for me, and that was a very important part, and that's why I picked this organisation. So I'm only 4 to 5 months new into this role, and so this is where I'm promoting your need and the ability to learn, because I am learning every single day. So the last time I moved organizations, I was with my last organizations for 6 years. So you get very comfortable, but then you go into a new role, and although it might be in the same industry, everything's very different. So you need to adapt and learn. So that's the period of learning that I'm in right now.
Good. And then another one is, do you always have to do the same thing in your job, or do you have a variety of things you need to do?
It's a variety. So every day is different for me. I actually look at my week and say, well, okay, what is it that I'm looking to achieve this week? And I focus on that. So yes, no day is the same for me. It's a variety of having a lot of meetings and phone calls and actually doing my own work in front of the computer. Usually if we were in offices, I'd be walking around and talking to people and understanding what's going on. It's more virtual corridors at the moment, going by your computer screen, which has also been a learning experience as well.
Yeah. So on that, you're fairly new in your role. When, I guess you must have been 2 months in when you started, and then the current coronavirus crisis hit. So how has your day-to-day life changed?
Well, I've got to say, it was very overwhelming, because what you end up having is, rather than being at your desk and being very busy, and I am constantly from one meeting to another, on day one with lockdown and coronavirus, you had all of these devices. So I have 2 phones, and they're all going off. I have my work iPad and my laptop, and they're all going off. You've got flashes of lights everywhere. It's and I've got to say, I found it very overwhelming, and adjusting to a new way of working took a good couple of weeks. But and on top of having change of a new job, it's okay to feel overwhelmed. I think it's about sharing those your experiences with other people, because guess what, they're going through similar experience. Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so then we worked our way through it, and also it gave us an opportunity to think about how is it going to be impacting our teams. Should we provide different support structures, because the people don't have the ability to talk to each other, and as humans we're all social animals. We want face-to-face contact, so we've had to get a bit more creative with that. So I've got somebody on my team that actually does quizzes for the team, and they dial in and they talk. We actually have a breakfast club in the beginning of the mornings, or on the beginning of the week, where we talk over breakfast. You have to change the way in which we engage, and actually in most cases you don't know if it's going to work or fail. And that's where experimentation and being okay to fail, giving yourself permission to fail, and figuring out a new way of working is the norm now.
Yeah, it's also quite exciting, and I guess will provide opportunities that you wouldn't have thought of maybe going forward. So we have another question. Do you have a mentor that helped you through your career? Was there somebody that you looked up to and advised you?
I had multiple. So right the way throughout, even through school, actually, I'd say, you know, my family were very good at sort of introducing me to people, giving them opportunities, who gave guidance in terms of how things work for UCAS statements. If you know, if neither of your parents went to university before, you don't know, what are you supposed to do? You're figuring things out, and you have a support structure within school, whether it's your career service and other things, and then within work, you do seek to find mentors, and there's different types of mentors. There's people that are going to help peer-to-peer, so they're going to help you with your day-to-day. There's people that are going to help you elevate to the next role, and it's about finding a combination of those people that you learn and develop from. So I definitely encourage everyone to have them. I have, my mentors have evolved over time, but I also have a core group of people that have known me throughout my entire career. And in the same way, I mentor people as well.
Okay. So did you have any other jobs, part-time jobs, when you were younger, or were you just focused on studying and then straight into your career?
No, I did. I worked at the checkouts at Sainsbury's. I handed out yellow pages, which was a crazy thing to decide to do, because I had no idea how many 500 yellow pages were and how heavy they were and how you transport them across streets. But again, it's a challenge, and you learn from that. I also did telephone market research, so it's a call center job where you had to get people to complete a questionnaire on the phone. And actually, that job probably set me in better stead for the job I do now than the in-between thing, because you have to find a way to engage with individuals on the phone, to keep them on the phone to complete the questionnaire, because you know you got a bonus once you completed 10. So I was trying to get myself to 10 and to get a bonus, which back then was an additional £10 per questionnaire, which was a massive amount of money for a student. So I've done lots of different types of roles, and I even volunteered. In a cancer research shop. I was volunteering at a hospice for a little while. So lots of different bits and pieces I've done throughout being a student.
Good. So someone then is asking, what advice would you give to a young person at school that has no idea what they want to do? Do they go and try different things, different types of employment, or should they just kind of pick something and focus on it?
Well, I mean, you can try lots of new things. What I'd encourage you guys to do is try different clubs, see what you enjoy. Like, do you enjoy debating? Do you like playing team sports? Because everything you do, the more you learn about yourself and what skill sets you want to do. And the big thing I'd ask from all of you is to dream big. Think, aspire big. You know, watch the news and other things and see what interests you. Definitely do different types of work. You can do that, whether it's on a voluntary basis. You can get internships. You can do one-day spring break programs where you come in and see offices. So I definitely encourage you to come and see the finance offices when you're allowed back into the office, and look at other areas. Go into, if you want to, you know, look at a finance or a pharmaceutical firm. You know, go into hospitals and talk to people. The only way you can define, see what you like and dislike, is open your mind up to it all. And you know, parents of all of your friends will be doing lots of different things. Ask them what they do and what they like about it, and see what intrigues you. Because you've got a great opportunity right now. The world's your oyster. Everyone's accessible because now we're all virtual. And it's a great opportunity to ask those questions and give it a go. And it's okay if it's a role that you get into and say it is finance, and you would definitely enjoy it if it is. But you can evolve your roles over time. So I can say I started off doing very mathematically heavy roles, but what I realized is my skill set was very good in front of people. And so I gradually moved different types of roles to get me to sales. So I could have done sales straight out. That's okay. But the thing is that it's a journey, and you are learning about yourself in that journey. but you need to start somewhere rather than, I describe it as, the beginning of crossroads, and you're at multiple crossroads, you're kind of going, oh, what path do I stay? Don't stay in one place. So take a step in a direction, see how you go. And most careers move in all sorts of directions, and they generally head their way upwards, but it's okay to take a step back. I've done that also. And then you take a different path. But the worst position, I think, is to just sit there and not do anything at all. So just, ask a lot of questions and see what options are out there, because there are endless. We're in a great, the UK, the amount of opportunities available to us is vast. So dream big would be my only suggestion.
Dream big, learn every day.
Yes.
So thank you, Appy, for sharing your story with us today. And I am absolutely sure that you will have convinced the people watching that maths is useful to them. I also want to thank the students for joining and for all the fabulous questions you asked. You'll all be emailed a feedback survey. It would be great if you could complete this, because it will help us improve our services. You can also look out for this recording and all our other career event recordings on our YouTube channel. And Founders for School is also on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to follow us, you can do, and you can share it with your friends and family. We have career webinars every day this week at 2 p.m. and there is another Maths for Girls event on Friday at 12:30, and we hope to see you there. So thanks everybody, thanks Appy, and we shall catch up after the event. Okay, thank you, bye.
Thank you.